Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Monday Mids episode 14. I'm currently on vacation, so I've been catching up on some anime and playing Chained Echoes on Steam. There are a bunch of short stories I wrote that I am considering releasing as other content on this channel. They are all horror / suspense / psychological short stories that fall into 3 different genres. So look out for those in the future. With that being said, I humbly request that you subscribe to the channel and like the video. Alright, with the begging out of the way, the image on screen explains the premise of this series. So pause and give it a once over if you are new here. Let's get right into it. Today we pulled V, and I knew that we wouldn't have a problem finding some bangers to recommend, but that the mids category would be much more difficult. There were actually only 2 options for mids, but in reality there was really only one option because the second one has such egregious fan service that it disqualifies itself. But that's enough about that. Let's get to the bangers first. This week we do have the usual 3 bangers, but there were literally only 3 of them. If we ever circle back through the alphabet for this series, V might need to be skipped entirely for both bangers and mids. I won't spend much time getting into it, but I'm fairly confident the majority of anime watchers, past, present, and future, would enjoy these series and rate them higher than mids. The first series is Vanitas no Carte, an action fantasy mystery series. The case study of Vanitas takes place in an alternate 19th century Paris where humans and vampires live in an uneasy coexistence. While searching for the legendary book of Vanitas, young vampire Noe Archiviste instead encounters a mysterious human doctor who not only possesses the infamous grimoire, but also calls himself Vanitas. Claiming to be a specialist in vampire illnesses, Vanitas uses the book's strange power to cure vampires who have lost control of themselves. As the unlikely pair investigate a growing conspiracy, they're drawing into a world of hidden secrets, dangerous enemies, and long-buried truths. Combining supernatural mystery, stylish action, and memorable characters, the case study of Vanitas is a series that's easy to get invested in. This is one of those series that turns out to be surprisingly good despite first impressions or coverage surrounding it. I'm certain many of you picked it up thinking, whatever, might as well give it a chance, only to be very pleasantly surprised. The second series is Vinland Saga, an action-adventure drama. Young Thorfinn grew up listening to the stories of old sailors that had traveled the ocean and reached the place of legend, Vinland. It's said to be warm and fertile, a place where there would be no need for fighting, not at all like the frozen village in Iceland where he was born, and certainly not like his current life as a mercenary. War is his home now. Though his father once told him, "You have no enemies, nobody does. There is nobody who it's okay to hurt." As he grew, Thorfinn knew that nothing was further from the truth. The war between England and the Danes grows worse with each passing year. Death has become commonplace, and the Viking mercenaries are loving every moment of it. Allying with either side will cause a massive swing in the balance of power, and the Vikings are happy to make names for themselves and take any spoils they earn along the way. Among the chaos, Thorfinn must take his revenge and kill Asklad, the man who murdered his father. The only paradise for the Vikings, it seems, is the era of war and death that rages on. I don't think this series needs much defense or recommendation. It's here solely because given the sheer amount of series available, this one might have somehow escaped some viewers' notice. The third series is ViVid, Fluorite Eyes Song, an action sci-fi suspense series. ViVid follows ViVid, the world's first autonomous AI, whose only purpose is to make people happy through her singing. Her quiet existence is turned upside down when an AI from 100 years in the future appears with a terrifying warning. Unless history is changed, artificial intelligence will one day wipe out humanity. Together, the two set out on a mission that spans an entire century, altering key moments in history to prevent that future from becoming reality. Blending stunning animation, emotional storytelling, and thought-provoking science fiction, ViVid is a gripping journey that explores what it truly means to have a heart and a purpose. If you knew about this series prior to this recommendation, please contact me and give me some of your recommendations. I only discovered this series because I literally scoured Mal like a fiend for new series to watch. It is ridiculous that I had to tear apart an entire website to learn of this series' existence, given how good it is. Now that brings us to the mid-series that we will cover today. As mentioned earlier, we really only had one option, as the other option disqualifies itself due to the egregious and copious amounts of fan service. I personally don't care if a series has fan service, as it's basically a core tenet of anime and manga, but I don't really feel like recommending series that pass a certain threshold regarding fan service. You will notice that all of the series recommended in Monday Mids still have fan service, but there is a threshold and limit as to what I am going to introduce into other people's lives. With that being said, I bring you ViVid Strike. Set in the same universe as the Magical Girl Lyrical Nanoha franchise, ViVid Strike shifts the focus away from magical warfare and toward competitive martial arts enhanced by magic. Rather than telling a traditional magical girl story, it follows two childhood friends whose lives take dramatically different paths after being separated. The story centers on Fuuka Reventon and Rinne Berlinetta, two orphan girls who grew up together like sisters. After being separated, Fuuka falls into poverty while Rinne is adopted into a wealthy family and becomes an elite martial artist. Years later, their reunion is anything but happy, setting them on a collision course that plays out inside the ring. At first glance, it looks like martial arts tournaments, magical combat, sports competition, but its emotional core lies elsewhere. The first major theme is healing through competition. Unlike many tournament anime where the goal is simply victory, Fuuka enters the ring for a personal reason. She wants to reach Rinne emotionally, understand her pain, help her forgive herself. The fights become conversations that neither girl can express through words. The second theme is trauma and resilience. Both protagonists experience hardship, but they responded differently. Fuuka learns to rely on others and keep moving forward. Rinne buries her pain beneath overwhelming strength. The series explores how trauma can either isolate people or inspire them to seek connection. The third theme is strength isn't enough. Throughout the series, Rinne proves that becoming the strongest fighter doesn't guarantee happiness. Instead, ViVid Strike argues that true strength comes from balancing skill, compassion, friendship, emotional honesty. The most important victory isn't winning a championship, it's overcoming the emotional barriers you've built around yourself. The three major reasons why people liked it. Number 1, excellent fight choreography. The series emphasizes close quarters martial arts with magical enhancements rather than large-scale spell battles. The fights are fast, impactful, and grounded in technique, making them some of the franchise's best hand-to-hand combat sequences. The second one was emotional rivalry. Fuuka and Rinne's relationship gives every major fight personal stakes. Their shared history makes the tournament feel less like a sports competition and more like an attempt at reconciliation. The third one was accessible spin-off. Although it exists within the Nanoha universe, ViVid Strike tells a mostly self-contained story with a new pair of protagonists, making it approachable for newcomers. The three major reasons why some people disliked it: number one, familiar sports structure. The underdog training to challenge the champion storyline follows a fairly conventional sports anime formula. Number two, limited magical focus. Fans expecting the large-scale magical battles typical of earlier Nanoha series were surprised by the greater emphasis on martial arts and tournament competition. Finally, reliance on franchise characters. While newcomers can enjoy the story, returning characters sometimes receive less explanation because the series assumes some familiarity with the broader universe. The final takeaway, and a simple way to describe ViVid Strike, is a martial arts drama about two childhood friends torn apart by tragedy who use tournament fighting not to defeat each other, but to confront their shared pain and rebuild the bond they lost. While it features exciting tournament battles, its greatest strength is the relationship between Fuuka and Rinne. Every punch and every match carries emotional weight, making the series as much a character drama as it is a sports anime. Getting to the plot rating, this ends up being a 6 out of 10. This is largely down to the genre and the fact that ViVid Strike is actually the 5th installment in the Nanoha series, and is actually a spin-off of the 4th installment. This means if you are familiar with the author and his work, you start to see the patterns that he likes to use. To be honest, making this many installments that did well is proof enough that the plot is solid despite the confines he's working within. Regarding the characters, they end up being a 7 out of 10. They are a cut above your stock standard trope heavy characters, and there is some aspect of nuance and depth to them. Newcomers to the series might be a little confused by how they gloss over explaining or fleshing out some of these characters, but that is because they are actually returning characters from previous installments. Moving on to the animation aspect, I give it a 7 out of 10. While the animation might seem the 10 years old that it is when compared to recent releases, it still boasts amazing fight choreography, and that is animated well. This series has a lot of opportunities to show off good animation due to the fact it's a fighting anime, and it delivers in those moments the majority of the time. The overall score therefore ends up being a 6 out of 10. This would probably get a higher rating from the average viewer if they remade this with modern animation and touched up a few aspects where handling returning characters is concerned. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Love you all. Stay safe. Stay beautiful. Peace.